Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever Goallounge TV episode. We are making history here. This is football punditry or commentary from a fan's perspective, largely African fans who love the Premier League. My name is Claudio, and this is the rest of my Goallounge Squad team. If you look carefully, we're playing a little bit of a game. Towards the end of the episode, our names have been switched around. I'm going to say it was intentional, but if you can guess who's got the correct names, we're going to probably throw something in at the end and give you a little prize. And that's an empty promise, so don't believe me there. However, let's start with our first member of the squad. Sello, tell the people why you love football and why you actually joined, or how you actually joined this team, or what your qualifications are for joining this team, rather.
My name is Sello. I work in the financial services industry. But when it comes to football, I support Kaizer Chiefs and Man United. I love all things sports, but obviously football is my first love. Since I was a little boy, played through primary, high school, played for Arcadia Shepherds and University of Pretoria academies during my time. I still play now as well, five-a-side, sometimes some seven-a-side tournaments. Got me on 2 years because I'm a Man United fan, and I think I'm not biased in me being a Man United fan. I can at least be, give a good view and also take a proper view and actually give a good feeling what's going on in my club as well.
Yeah, and that's why I got him there, because I'm definitely not a subjective Liverpool fan. I'm definitely biased. So that's why it's good to have a Man United fan who's going to be a bit quieter when I get out of hand. Nick, tell the people about yourself.
What's up, guys? I'm just, I think I'm the only guy from Joburg here. I know all you gents are from Pretoria, but I work in Pretoria. I work for the football club, University of Pretoria. I'm currently on a path trying to become a professional coach, working at under 19s at the Amatax Academy. Currently doing my UEFA A license in Scotland. So I'm trying to gather as much knowledge as I can. But yeah, as you can see, I'm through and through black and white, Newcastle United till I die. I suffer week in, week out. My team is absolutely shite most of the time. But I love them. My grandfather's from there. There's nothing better than going to St. James's Park in a weekend to watch us lose 3-0 at home. Nothing better. Started to join the team with the lads, and then hopefully, God help us, and maybe we might survive this season. I can't wait.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, we're going to get... We actually felt sorry for Nick, largely because he's got no one to talk to about football. That's why he's on our show.
Yeah, man.
Mosa, tell the people of your football pedigree.
Dope. What's up, everybody? I'm Mosa Sesele. I used to play football growing up. Played for University of Pretoria. Actually joined the academy structures when I turned 15 years old, and focused a lot of my energy there towards actually becoming a pro player at the university. I don't play as much as I used to, although I could still ruffle a few feathers. I'm now focused in the financial.
That's all you ever did was ruffle feathers. I don't know. At first, that was nowhere to be seen. It was only ruffling feathers.
Exactly. Yeah, I was always the centre back or the right back, doing the most for the teams that I was playing for. And yeah, man. Glad to be part of this group of gentlemen, especially as a Chelsea fan. I think we've had a couple of discussions with several members of the team here about how potentially my team might be taking the season this season. So yeah, that's
already a prediction.
Already they're in there. Top, man. Nice to meet everybody.
Cool. Wonga?
Yo, what up, guys? I'm Wonga. I'm also a Joburg boy, Nick.
Oh, sorry, man.
Yeah. Nick's trying to claim everything because he feels so lonely as it is in the football fraternity. He's trying to be the only man. You're not that special.
Sorry, Wonga. Sorry, man.
Give a boy something.
No, good, yeah.
Give me something.
Now, I grew up there in Edenville. Played soccer literally my whole life growing up. Then I moved to Pretoria in 2009 to University of Pretoria. Played soccer there as well with the promo. Then I think I finished off at varsity. Still playing soccer now, but just on on a very, very social level, nice and calm. And now I currently also work with Kuba Coaching. What we're trying to do now is basically improve the soccer in South Africa.
Yeah, that's truly admirable. Someone's got to do it because, as we all know here, we are a long way off. Hence why we're talking about the Premier League and not the PSL. I think it's going to take a couple of years for us to get there. So just to give you or break down how the show is going to work, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with something called the Camp Confidence. And that's each of us talking about our teams and where we think they're at the moment. Then we're going to go into the transfer performance of the clubs, and we're going to end off with season predictions. So to begin with the Camp Confidence, let's start where the confidence is super high at the moment. Why not go to Chelsea and Stamford Bridge? Mosa, how are you feeling about your team at the moment?
Confidence is super high. I think some of the signings that have come into the picture do raise an eyebrow, which is very, very good to see. I think last season, without us being able to actually sign up a lot of players, we had to kind of circulate a lot of the players that we had, and you could see that some of them were legs that were probably getting a little bit more fatigue or looking like teams had kind of figured us out during the season. So I'm very happy with the signings. It is very difficult as well to consider how we do go ahead given the beginning of the season, right? It's the beginning of the new transfers. It's a new era under Frank Lampard. It's first time he's been able to actually use some money, which is good. But he is coming up against bad boys like Liverpool and Man City, who will feature at the top. It's good to see Man United there, but I think Champions League football will be tougher to fight for this season, and to improve from our fourth spot last season will be also a big challenge. But yeah, confidence is up. If we were to give it a number, I'd say 7 or 8 up there. But yeah, far from where I think it'll take us to actually win the championship this season.
Mosa, tell me something, bro. Tell me something. Why do you guys have so many players on loan, bro? You guys have had that for so long. And I see you still loaning out Kennedy. It's his 5th loan, bro. Just play the guy. Why are you guys doing such things?
And Michi Batshuayi is extending his contract and then going on loan in Palace. Let the guy go, man. Please, man. He scored 2 goals
guys,
for Belgium.
These are big team type of considerations that you probably don't have to face, you know. Our teams have depth, we have quality, which sometimes is a little bit young, you know, and need some track record to be built for themselves. So we are a team which competes for Champions League and the championship.
Yeah, Mosa, I'm going to stop you right there. So here's the thing: the lads are talking about Chelsea's original transfer policy and their approach. You know, sign a whole bunch of young kids, steal them from Africa and all sorts, where they're like 12, they send them by themselves, and then what they do is now they've changed their whole policy up. They've actually seen Liverpool's playbook in terms of who their targets were, who their transfer targets were, and now they've, under the new guidance of Maria, the lady who's the chairman there at Chelsea, by the way, Russian lady. I don't know what else she does for Roman Abramovich. That remains to be seen. But right now, she's literally starting the playbook from Liverpool, and they've brought in all their guys. So yeah, I think it's a good start from the Chelsea camp. But let's go to the next guy. That it seems like it was a sinking ship towards the end of last season, but then it was rectified a little bit. And you know what's so funny is I've got 3 guys not knowing where I'm going to put this because all of them think their boats were sinking to a little extent. But I'm gonna go land up at Arsenal. Wonga, tell us how you're feeling right now with Arteta and what's going on there.
Yes, Arsenal's been difficult, bro. Kale Arteta, I was actually very happy. I mean, there were people who were saying, I remember they said Carlo Ancelotti and other big names that were linked to Arsenal. But yes, when they said Arteta, I was happy because I felt that, I mean, number one, he was with Pep. The time he won all these trophies at Man City. So we've seen how the guy's done it. Pretty much he knows what it takes to win a Premier League and other cups. I mean, Pep has done it many times. And for Kale Arteta to be right next to him, I thought, wow, now this guy's coming out, wants to prove himself and pretty much show everyone else how to do it. I was pretty much happy with that choice by the guys. I thought not that Carlo Ancelotti is doing a bad job at everything himself, but I just thought that I just wanted someone who would probably be hungry for it, and I think Arteta was the right man. and I'm pretty much happy with what's happening now. I mean, we're not going to be winning the league next season, 100%. But
not winning the league for 5 years, bro. Come on, be real.
I think this is the last time we'll see Arsenal at the top.
It's progress. Look, you know what? I'm thinking back to when Wenger, even Arteta said it, and I didn't like the fact that he said it. Like, William came out with it. Arteta was saying Wenger had that 4-year plan that didn't materialize over 10 years. Liverpool had a plan. No, Klopp didn't come out and say he's got a 4-year plan, but he did tell them that, look, I mean, he would have one title. I think it was in the next year or two. And Willian goes out and he says, the coach says he wants to win the Champions League. Was it the league? Yeah, Champions League in 3 years. And really shooting us in the foot there, all these expectations. And I was like, no ways. The guy should just keep quiet, But I believe in Arteta. I think he will get us something. I don't know about it being soon, but I'm pretty sure he will get us something.
Yeah. What I can say about your coach, man, about Arteta, is that he looks like he knows what he's doing, and he's got a plan. Which is you can't say that about Emery. Emery just was all over the place. I think Emery just always coached Sevilla and for his life, and then he'll be okay. Because even at PSG, but Arteta has impressed me, man. The way they beat Chelsea, the way they beat City, and then beat Chelsea, and then also beat Liverpool now as well in the Community Shield. I know it looks well for the Gunners. I won't lie. I want Arteta to do well, but I don't want Arsenal to do well.
I'm in that camp. That's the camp I'm in as well.
But like, even just to say there, like, even you could see the difference. I think everyone could see the difference the way Arsenal played when Emery was there, and then when, in fact, from Wenger to Emery to Arteta, there was, three differences there. And what I'm seeing now is it's very positive. I mean, when Wenger was there, it was, I'm behind the guy, let's help him, but he's gone. Then when Emery came in, then it was, I couldn't even support the team. It was horrible. There was nothing, no one wanted to fight. Come on, Teta. And I'm backing it as well.
But that's what happens when you make the headmaster of House Slytherin your head coach. Nick, so Newcastle's an interesting topic to be talking about. Your emotions must be all over the place. I mean, Saudi guys they're going to become a green club. We're talking about House Slytherin. Newcastle was officially going to be a green club backed by the Saudis. And I've also just heard now that a second bid has been rejected, by the way, by the Premier League for a takeover. So I don't know where you're at.
So what had actually happened with that? The Premier League are spineless. I don't know what to call it. Spineless.
You want
and
be honest, put it out there. They spineless what?
Spineless bastards. Spineless bastards. But anyway, and your clubs are also spineless bastards, because from what I understand, is there was a bit of anti sort of Saudi money coming into the league, because you know what? There's a top 6. And there was more than likely going to be a top 7. But anyway, let me break it down for you guys. We were going to be the richest club in the world by times 10, I think. And we were going to just be so fucking cool. And I was just so excited for that. Because to be very honest with you, I just want to see my team lift a trophy. And I don't know if I'll see it in my lifetime. So if I can see that, no matter what, if we buy it, I don't care, as long as I can see it. But anyway, the bid went in, and there was a whole lot of other issues, like obviously the humanitarian situation in Saudi isn't great, and I'm not going to advocate that, but I do think it sort of separates when it comes to where they put in their money. What I can tell you is the British government were very supportive of it, because they allies with Saudi Arabia, and what the Premier League decided to do was just not say anything and just let it drag on for 3 months until they pulled out, and they said, well, we're not going to stick around. So yesterday, Newcastle actually released a statement officially saying that it was rejected, and now the Premier League's come back and said they actually didn't reject it. So it's a bit of he said, she said type situation, and I think there's a big legal battle coming with Mike Ashley wanting to sue the Premier League because he wants rid of the club. he's not interested. He hasn't been interested for the last 6-7 years. And the Saudis wanted to enter the league. So right now, I was looking at Koulibaly and Coutinho and possibly Messi coming in, and now I'm signing players that all got relegated. So, I mean, geez, that's great for me. I've got two Bournemouth players and a Norwich player. So, in Steve Bruce, we trust as far as that will run and that will go. But, yeah, it is what it is, I guess. I think we've signed a couple of good players that are proven. But, I mean, from being up here to kind of just being, I've been down this road 4 or 5 times, owners coming in to potentially buy the club and it falls through. So yeah, I until they sign and I see that Saudi flag at the top of St. James's Park, I won't believe it. I won't believe it until I see it.
So is anyone else hearing Nick? Sorry, what was that, Mosa? What is that?
It'll be business as usual at the
struggling. Business as usual, fighting at the bottom there.
Yeah, but what I'm hearing is Nick doesn't mind supporting the slave trade and piracy as long as his team lifts a trophy.
Yeah.
Listen. That's a topic for another day.
All right. Well, moving on. Sello, the man who claims to be an objective United fan. I mean, everyone else can agree with me. I'm yet to see that. But let's hear the thoughts there. Let's hear these thoughts.
Yeah, no, our camp, I think the confidence is, at the end of the season was there. Managed to make it into the top 4 when Chelsea was how many points ahead of us? 13 or something like that, before lockdown. So we obviously clawed back 13 points from Chelsea, and obviously even clawed back Leicester. We made it into the top 4. Got into the FA Cup semi-final, got into the Europa League semi-final. I was just disappointed that we didn't win either of those trophies. We made 3 semi-finals the whole season: League Cup, FA Cup, and Europa League, and we didn't get into one final. That just taints the season a bit. Top 4 secured, but at least if you get to the semi-final, you should be at least making the final and competing. And then you can say, okay, cool, the better team won in the final. But I think we should have beaten Sevilla. But I think just their Europa League pedigree, just shone through, and that's how they beat us. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Sorry, I had to stop you. You're right. The Europa League pedigree is shone through. That's where United have been these last couple of years, Sello?
Yeah, that's where we were last season. Yeah, that's where we were last season. You forget that Liverpool played Sevilla in the Europa League as well at some other time, and they lost. I don't know who won that.
No, you're right. We lost, but we made it to the final and we lost. You guys made it to the semi-final, but it's all good. It's somewhat similar.
But I'm saying, but exactly that. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're the only team that gets beaten by Sevilla. You also felt the wrath of the Sevilla team. But just going into the new season, we're not where we should be, definitely, in terms of going into the new season. Maguire getting arrested, Greenwood and Foden sticking girls into the hotel. That's stupid. You know what I mean? You can't be doing that. So just negativity that some players have done in terms of their international break and on holiday. That's not always good, because then the team is sorting out other stuff, and Solskjaer has to talk to the players about other stuff instead of focusing on the season. You know what I mean? It's unnecessary distractions. But going to the new season, to be honest, the transfer window is still open. So hopefully we can still get 2 players in. If we can get 2 players in, I'll feel much more confident. But right now, I'm staying level-headed and saying, okay, cool. The aim for the season should be then to possibly get 10, 15 points more than what we got last season. But then, if we don't get 2 more players into the window, then it will be one of those where we're fighting for top 4. But if we get 2 signings in, then I think then we can say that 10 points, 12 points plus to what we got last season. We should definitely improve on that.
Yeah, and when you talk about 2 players in particular, are there 2 that we all know the one that they've made it public, very public, that they're after Jadon Sancho. Obviously, Dortmund asking for 108 million pounds. They're saying that's not gonna fly. Another page that they're taking from the Liverpool transfer book. You guys just hear that, by the way. But they don't want to do it. But they asked like
wait. I think this Liverpool transfer book thing that you speak of is I don't know what you're talking about because I'll say for Chelsea, for instance, you know what I mean? Chelsea had a transfer ban, and they had Morata's money and Hazard's money to spend, you know what I mean? And then Man United has a net spend of above 150 million in transfer window since the Glazers have come in, you know what I mean? So we've never spent more than 150 net spend, you know, so, you know, and you know, didn't Liverpool sign the most expensive goalkeeper at the time, most expensive defender at the time?
Yeah, but they booked Liverpool.
Yeah,
I wish I could spend more than 20 million.
Go ahead, Mosa.
Sorry, I'm saying like with the spend that you're referring to at Man United, unfortunately it hasn't, this season it did do well in terms of getting a Champions League position, but over the past couple of seasons it wasn't actually paying fruit. Whereas with Liverpool, you could see the money actually showing its benefit to the team with the points that they were collecting and the performances that they were showing.
No, undoubtedly. I think you know what's different between the two clubs is that, you know, Liverpool comes from a point where they used to sign Andy Carroll after Torres left. You know what I mean? After, you know, so the
different ownership. We're going too far. We're going too far back in the past.
No.
Liverpool fans like talking about.
That's recent memory. That's recent memory. That's recent. That's
but now we're talking present. We are talking present, just
signing Christian, you know, signing Christian Benteke. You know what I mean? These are fresh still in our memory. You know.
Okay, but let me just go back to the Jadon Sancho thing.
Was it Andy Carroll as well?
Yeah, and okay, what I meant
Andy Carroll as well.
Andy Carroll plays for my team. He's top class.
And Benteke, you know.
It was actually very impressive last season for you.
So I think Claudio needs to humble himself and say, listen, that since Fenway has come in, things started a bit slowly and then things have improved. You know what I mean? You need to remember where you're coming from, you know what I mean? Whereas United is different, you know what I mean? Where from David Gill and Sir Alex Ferguson, we're doing, let's say, I would say 60% well in the transfer market, right? They were hit misses, you know what I mean? But they got the titles, you know what I mean, under Gill and Sir Alex, right? Then Gill left and Fergie left at the same time. You know what I mean? So that destabilized and what the difference is now between, I would say, like, for instance, like Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man United is that the transfer strategy at Liverpool has been good, right? You know, money ball style, you know, and then obviously Chelsea also has now improved, you know, of late. And then Man United, the problem is the Glazers don't want to spend their money. You know what I mean? They don't want to spend their money. They just want to eat off their fat salaries that they're earning off the club. You know, so they just enjoying the benefits of having United under their ownership, but actually not investing in the club. You know, they feel that top four is enough for them, but they're not trying to get the club to where it's supposed to be. You know, I would expect better from them because at least one of the US clubs just won the Super Bowl, so I think they would have tried to at least try to achieve that across the Atlantic, you know?
Yeah. And I like that because that's a good note to finish from the United camp. Moving into, let me talk about the Liverpool side, is that both clubs have American owners, different approaches. Obviously, the one bought the club in debt, like our former owners, when you're talking about the Carroll travesty, that was also exactly bought in debt.
Coach properly, man. He's world class.
We forget the man still sitting on the bench.
Because he's a former Newcastle boy.
Yeah,
he's currently still the Newcastle book.
Yeah, he's just always injured. He's always injured, man.
Yeah, he left West Ham and went back to Newcastle. Yeah. So yeah.
I like how we're talking. I like how we're talking about season 2021, and Carroll is like the headline name in the show.
He was the most expensive English player, man. What's the most expensive English player? Liverpool made him English player, guys.
It's because of his long hair, man. Did you not see that hair? That hair was unreal, man.
Yeah, and all his shampoo endorsements that he got, that all contributed to Liverpool trickle down effect. Like anyway, but going back to what I actually meant is that when I say the Liverpool strategy in terms of what United are doing is they're trying to play hardball. In the previous seasons, they've overspent on very average players, largely because clubs know they can quote them that much. United were in a very desperate situation, so they paid the cost at all means. Liverpool, however, we can see why their transfer policy has been successful is because they've been cheeky about the whole scenario in terms of they go after the players they want, they put a certain amount down. If the other club that they're negotiating with doesn't want to contribute or doesn't want to play ball, they just say, cool, we're walking away. So they've kind of said, we're a big club, but we're not as big as United. So what we're going to do is this is all we can really afford. And at the same time, what they mean by the whole transfer policy is Liverpool at the moment only bring a player in once they get rid of a player. That's why this whole situation with regards to Gini Van Halden and Thiago is a bit of a mess right now because they're saying, well, we need to raise funds for a player who's both of them are in the last 6 months of their contract. But, we've got to sell the one to bring the other one in. And this whole COVID, normally in this scenario, why Liverpool, again, are successful is because they sell off the players that don't really have a huge impact. And that money then goes back into the costing of bringing in new players. And because of the pandemic in particular, the players that we would be selling off aren't going. So the clubs are inquiring about them, but they wanted to get them on loan. So Liverpool aren't doing that. So unfortunately, it's slow business. But at the same time, the question is, do Liverpool need to get signings in? And the Liverpool fans on Twitter at the moment are ridiculous because they're all saying how useless the ownership is now after they've just delivered a title after 30 years. They're saying they're useless because they don't want to spend money.
You know how Liverpool fans are, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, man, they taste glory, and now they feel like, they just need to expect the best.
No. They can't remember a season or two ago now.
Exactly. They can't remember the tough times.
Claudio,
you know what? It's just,
that standard saying though, if you're going to stand still, you're going to be left behind. I think. I mean, you need to. In my opinion, I would get another midfielder in, and I wouldn't get rid of Gini because I think he's been world class for you, and maybe just another sort of creative player to throw in. I mean, for me, Man City. I mean, we haven't chatted about them, but they've got a front three that they can swap out, and their next front three is just as good. Maybe not just as good, but I think that depth is going to be key if you guys are going to retain it. Just in my opinion, I just don't think you can stand still because other teams aren't standing still.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting point. And why people are saying this throughout history, going back to Sello's club, is because of how successful Ferguson was and his theory. So everyone is judging that sort of criteria or that sort of judgment based on exactly what was done in the past. Now, what's interesting about what Liverpool, where they stand at the moment, is people are saying, okay, cool. Are they going to be motivated enough to continue? I mean, they've had two phenomenal seasons. Let's be frank. 90 plus points. They've overachieved with regards to what they were doing. So to push that for the third season is going to be really, really difficult, no doubt. But the incentive here, the real motivation is one, they finally won the Premier League with no fans. So pushing for the season to have fans in the stand, that's going to be a brand new experience. The second motivation is that Liverpool historically, or at least for the last 30 years, in my opinion, we like them, we resonate them because they are a bit of an underdog team. That's what they are. And with Jurgen Klopp, he resonates even more with that. So by people saying, okay, look at Chelsea spending over 200 million plus, look at United spending this, look at these clubs spending this. For Jurgen Klopp, he'll use that as motivation, saying, listen, guys, we haven't spent any money because I believe in you guys. So let's go show them that we don't need to do that. We can break the mold a little bit. So that's kind of where they're at. That's why I'm not worried about it. I mean, every day as a fan, you always want to see names in the paper. You want to see a player with your shirt on. That's just, I mean, unfortunately for Nick, he hasn't seen that for a very long time. But Callum Wilson, after watching goal, he said that's why he chose Newcastle. So that's
on that note, though, just from a coaching point of view, Claudio, I think we chatted the other day. I think, in my opinion, and I think you've probably got the best manager to do it. He needs to keep the players stimulated. And, I think you touched on it now. I mean, yes, he might say, listen, I don't need to sign anyone. You guys are good enough. But he needs to keep them stimulated. And that will be whether it's in training, it's whether the dressing room is working as well, or is not as monotonous as it has been for the last 2 years. I'm not saying it was monotonous, but you don't want it for 3 years. You're doing the same thing every single day. You know, human beings are human beings. They need to be stimulated. They need more challenges. So I think you've got the right manager to do something like that. But I think if you had someone else, you know, maybe not as experienced or someone not as charismatic, you might have struggled. So I'm interested to see if you do not sign anyone. It's very interesting to see how well you actually do. And I'm not saying that you don't have a chance, but it will be, I think, I don't know what you guys think, but I think it will be quite, it will be a first. It will be a first if you are successful again.
And it'll be interesting to see Liverpool actually and understand the Champions League hopes, because that is something for them to play for as well. It's not like it's all done and dusted because they've had 2 really good seasons and come really close this season, no? So it's
yeah.
So it's like
No, sorry, finish, Mosa. And then Wonga wanted to say something, and then Sello can get stuck in there.
So yeah, there's always room, and I echo Nick's sentiments that teams aren't sleeping now. They're not resting in a sense where they just laying back and letting Liverpool do what they do. You did see them all step up after the break, the COVID-19 lockdown break. You saw Man United coming out really hot out of that period, and these are teams that can really put Liverpool to stress if the season is protracted and you know, the signings do have to come into play. So yeah, it is tricky for Liverpool, but you know, they've been working on this recipe for 2 years as well, 2-3 years with Klopp, and it's difficult to see them just lose track of 4 years with Klopp, and it's difficult to see them lose track of what they've put together so well, unless you do see the Man Cities and the Chelseas actually come with fire.
Yeah. Wonga?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, same thing, really, just echoing what Nick said.
How's the Newcastle guy, the man with wisdom here? I don't understand. But finish what you're saying, Wonga.
No, it's if you know, yeah, Klopp in his. I mean, Liverpool had yes, Man United won the league, but Arsenal won the league, all the other teams won the league, but Liverpool had almost a clean season in their league win. And I don't think they conceded more than 15 goals. Am I wrong? And that for me was that's phenomenal. And I mean, like you said, they bought Alisson for a large amount, they bought Keane and Dyke for a large amount, but that amount locked the defense. They kept them steady going the whole season. And now you ask yourself, like, now he's taking out Van Halden, and even me, I mean, it looks like Van Halden will most likely be the one going out, but you ask yourself the question: do you keep the same team? I mean, that's done you so well, or do you have to try and change it up so that you're not doing the same thing as last season as well? Yeah, it's a difficult thing. I can't lie to you. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, and I guess like managers tend to have to reward the players that have actually won them the actual league. And to the extent that they do that is going to be something to watch out for.
Yeah, I think with Liverpool, man, it's we all said, man, it's like in the past, any team that wins a title, the next season, what do? They don't change the formula. They just try add on a bit of pieces where they felt there was some weaknesses. You know what I mean? So I think Klopp saw, okay, cool. One of my weaknesses was Robertson, the understudy. He always has to use Milner as a backup. So then they signed the Greek left back to come in as an understudy to Robertson, which is good. But then also is Origi the right understudy for Firmino? Which some I've seen on Twitter, Liverpool fans don't think Origi is the right understudy, and then also you want to let go of a youngster like Brewster, which doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? You've seen what the English youngsters have done at Man United, at Arsenal, and Chelsea, but then you're one very good attacking youngster in Brewster, who did well at Swansea last season. And scored some goals now in the preseason. You're thinking of letting him go and then having a buyback clause. Whereas I think you should give a kid like that a chance, and he will act as a signing. And also I think push Origi out of the way to be the understudy for Firmino. because he's a good boy. He was in the Under-20 World Cup winning team, and he scored some goals there. So I think you guys need to don't let go of him. But then also, I think that midfield does need maybe one piece, you know. But I was actually thinking earlier on, if Van Dijk gets injured, what impact would that have on Liverpool? You know, because obviously we saw when Alisson got injured, you know, it wasn't, you know, the best understudy, you know. So would be quite interesting to see if Matip and Gomez would be able to hold the fort while Van Dijk gets an injury, you know, because you see a club like Man City, you know, I feel Man City won't win the league if they don't get a world-class centre-back, you know, because Nathan Ake is an understudy to Laporte, but they don't have Vincent Kompany's replacement as yet, you know what I mean? You can't rely on Otamendi and John Stones to be playing right centre-back. And Fernandinho is getting old, man, and he's slow. And he jumps into challenges, you know what I mean? You know, I think, you know, that for City is something where they need to sort out to make sure that they're challenging Liverpool. You know, obviously, we've spoken about other clubs and what they need to do to challenge, but City, I think that's just the one piece they need, and you know, and Liverpool, it's the centre mid.
Yeah, and I think you raise a valid point with regards to Brewster as well as the centre backs. At the moment, we've only got 3 senior centre backs because they just got rid of Dejan Lovren. We do have another 17-year-old who apparently is built like a giant, who they're trying to bring into the fold. So you're right. So if the one thing we're not giving credit to, and this question I want to throw to the coaches in this group, and to everyone already, but we're not giving that much credit. So everyone's saying, yeah, you know, Liverpool's first team players, we were lucky in terms of them not getting injured. But our first team players, apart from Alisson last season, were fine. And I think like the focus should also be on the physiotherapy department and the fitness department. There's something there that they're doing right, because clearly to go that long and be in that great condition and be all right is interesting. Touch wood. But then again, if you're looking at Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, if you're looking Naby Lud or Naby Keita, if you're looking at those sort of players, they are the ones getting injured. And that's where you're right, the shortage in depth. As for the Ryan Brewster thing, it's interesting. The kid's 20. He's a natural finisher. He's a brilliant goal finisher. Is he better than Origi? I think so. But, I mean, no one can beat the man when it's Saturday night, because when it's Saturday night, we like the way he moves, and that's Divock Origi. But but the thing is this. It's like, do we keep him? And does he benefit from training? Because he's not going to crack the top 3. Or do we actually get rid of him, bring in some money, bring in a guy that's going to bring something different to the midfield, like a Thiago, let him get that experience and then buy him back. So that's a bit of a tricky situation.
Give him to me.
Hey,
apparently they're interested.
Yeah, but I mean, Claudio, on that point though, like I do think you have to give credit. I mean, in terms of a preseason, I don't know what sort of preseason the guys are having now. It's going to be interesting to see injuries in terms of all teams. Because fatigue's going to play a large part, and then whether or not that foundation is maintained from the previous season. But if your foundation is good enough, generally your muscular injuries are less. So I would give the sports science department in your team probably a lot of credit. And then, I mean, I think majority of your injuries, I think Ox was an ACL, which is, you can't really avoid that. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's not that he wasn't strong enough. And I mean, Keita, I don't know what injury he had, but if majority of your injuries are knocks and contact injuries, I mean, then you're doing a good job. So I think they need obviously a huge sort of, I don't know what you want to call it, a thank you from Klopp, because if that was the case, that you had as little injuries as that was a huge contribution, I would say. Yeah, I don't know what you guys think about that.
Keita's injuries come from the fact that he's older than what he is, man. That's why.
Soccer age thing.
You know, he's pulling Michael Essien stunts. You know what I mean? You know, the Bison was on hot for Chelsea, and then all of a sudden he was getting knocks, man. These African players, we need to, you know, these rumors that we hear that these guys are actually older than what they are, man. That's the case. I'm not saying it's the case. I've just seen that rumor being thrown around on social media.
Well, it's not really just a rumor. There's actually someone, and I'm not sure if they're still watching because they haven't commented in a while, but there was someone, I'm not going to mention the name, who did go go somewhere in Africa. And he's a decent player. I'm not going to give him too much of a big head. I hope he's, yeah. Anyway, he was okay. So he went somewhere in Africa. And when he went for the trials and stuff and he got put in touch with one of the international coaches, they said, how old are you? And he gave his age. I think his age at the time was 24. And he's like, no, it's 24. He said, no. The coach said, when did you start playing soccer? He said, no, when I was probably 7. So he says, oh, okay. So what you need to do is you need to subtract 7 years from your actual age, and that's your soccer age. And this was a junior international coach for the country. But anyway, on that note, talking about players going overseas and soccer ages and everything, let's move into the next section. And that is going to be the transfer performance. Obviously, this is where the Chelsea boys are going to get very loud, or the Blues. And we've got 2 sections. We can discuss done deals, and we can discuss the pipeline sort of deals, because, I mean, a lot can still change. The window's only closing on the 8th. So, yeah, go for it, guys. Who wants to kick this off? Which player
I can actually start it off, man. Like, Chelsea has had a lot of great signings.
Who spent £1 billion? I mean, £1 billion.
What's that?
You spent like £1 billion, man.
From my calculations, a little bit shy from $1 billion, but there is some good money spent. I think it's good to see the talent like Timo Werner actually coming over to the English Premier League and joining the outfit like Chelsea. I think the players around him will get him in positions which will give him opportunities to strike as well as he's done at is it Leipzig, RB Leipzig, that he was at last year, and for the national team. So that's a great signing in my view. A signing that will add a lot of value. Thiago Silva at the back, good signing, very strong. It's credible. Will be good for Europe as well. I'm a little bit worried about his age, but he was still performing, at the finals for PSG. It is very physical when you do come to the English Premier League to be tested week in, week out, which is very different to what he's experienced at PSG, where they could just run away with the league and the like. So it will be a good test for him. He's on for a year, so that's good. It's good enough as an international, fully fledged player to have in the back line. Ziyech, exciting live wire. I think over the past two or three seasons, we've had a strong squad, but we haven't actually menaced as much as Liverpool and Man City have been menacing the opponents. And having players like Ziyech to actually, break in between that midfield and defender line is a great addition. The new striker, I think, what's his name? Havertz or Kale?
Kai.
He seems Kai. Yeah, 22-year-old that's going to earn £310,000 a week. That is scary. It's scary.
Top 5 highest earners in the Premier League.
Yeah. And, I haven't seen enough of him to actually warrant it. If you look at the players that are around him on that top 5 list, it's going to be the likes of De Gea, De Bruyne, and, some really big names. And for him to step up and show his worth is also a very good incentive. He's fortunate that he's going to be under a really good coach like Lampard, who is ready for taking on the pressure and aware of.
Oh, did we lose him there?
Oh, no,
Yes, son. That's fine. I was getting bored of listening to how well Chelsea were doing in the transfer market anyway.
I think what we are saying, I think it froze because what you're saying there about Lampard isn't true.
No, it's not. I just love the face that he's putting at.
Exactly. Because it's so true what he said about Lampard, man.
I actually saw something I saw something now on Sky Sports before we jumped on this. Lampard said he was laughing at the Sky Sports journalists, and he just said it. I find it quite funny that you guys think I had no pressure and that I had a free hit last year. He's like, there's so much pressure being the Chelsea manager, and he's like, if you thought I was not under pressure, then you guys are not really doing your job, essentially. So yeah, it was quite interesting.
Yeah, I was watching that. I was watching that.
Go ahead. Oh wait, Wonga, go ahead.
No, I'm saying like what Nick is saying. That's where now the media comes into play, because what the media is probably focusing on, and everyone probably gets, everyone's getting the sense because of the media's focusing on like your Jose Mourinho who's coming in. Even Carlo Ancelotti. Not everyone really focused on sometimes I even forgot the guy was in the league, but he was there, and they literally focused on all the other guys. And what's his name? Everyone probably thought that Solskjaer had the big job, you know, but he's been telling everyone that I'm good. Like there is no pressure. I'm on a plan. The board has given me the go ahead. Like every result that comes in, we all understand what is happening. You know, he said this time and time again, but no one wants to. But like Nick is saying, I think literally, I think that is due to what the media has put. And that's how it is, I guess.
Yeah, and it's an interesting thing because you're looking. It's like you guys said. It doesn't seem like he's got this pressure. But what these signings do is whether or not the pressure is within the club, which you guys are saying the pressure is clearly within the club, but what it's done is externally, where the fans would have been a lot more tolerant. Even though he did well, they would have been a lot more tolerant despite how everything went. I think now with the fact that they brought these players in, the expectations gone tenfold. So there's definitely going to be a lot more pressure. They do have great players. These are great signings. Are they going to gel immediately, get used to or adapt to the Premier League? That's a big, big ask for these guys. I think their best player next season is probably going to be a player that they didn't sign this season, and that's going to be Christian Pulisic, who they just gave the number 10 jersey, by the way.
Yeah.
I
personally agree with that as well. I mean, I think another good signing, though, for them was Ben Chilwell. I think he had a great season at Leicester, or a couple of seasons. And someone who's sort of tried and tested in the Premier League, And you're back. You're back. We're talking about you, not to you.
Are you still talking about our signings? I'm happy. Yeah, you mentioned Ben Chilwell.
Yeah, man. I think it's a good, solid signing. Had a good couple of seasons at Leicester. I mean, if I was a Leicester fan, I wouldn't be too chuffed losing him, and then also being in the Champions League spots the whole season, then finishing Europa on the last day of the season is not a great way to start the next season. So, yeah, man. But good signings all round. But I think what we were saying, Mosa, is will they gel? That's the question the $1 million question.
How they come together.
Another question I have for Mosa and Chelsea is that I think there's just two more positions maybe that are a bit questionable. Goalkeeper, right, and your best center mid slash you can even go into formation, because obviously Lampard liked to play the 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. Let's say he liked to play 3-4-3 last season, and then sometimes he plays maybe a 4-2-3-1 with a Kovacic and a Kante base. So center mid, if is Kante going to stay fit? If he doesn't stay fit, then who plays with Kovacic? You know what I mean? Because obviously a lot of Chelsea fans have seen, I don't know how you feel about Jorginho. Some people don't rate Jorginho. Some people love Jorginho. And then obviously Kepa is a question mark. I'm not saying he's a bad keeper. It's just that last season he had a bad season, and it was his first season in the Premier League. I think sometimes a new league and a different culture can affect you. De Gea, his first season in the Premier League, similar. He used to flap at the ball sometimes. Wasn't strong. He was quite weak, flimsy. Yes, he was a bit probably just maybe 1 or 2 years younger than what Kepa is now. But he was the top keeper in the world for a good amount of seasons. But after starting so poorly, so I just want to hear you on those two positions, centre mid and keeper. What do you think?
I think in the centre mid department, having Jorginho or Kante are still very good options to have as a holding centre midfielder, especially with guys like Ziyech and them running in front of them. At the back, it's going to be interesting. I think the goalkeeper, Kepa, had shown a few instances where there were opportunities that he could have improved. And we are in the market, I think, is it Edward Santos or one of the keepers that we're looking at the moment, but that deal isn't done yet. Excuse me?
Yeah, I'm saying the one in the French league, yeah.
Yeah, but that deal isn't closed as yet. So, I think this is, for me, it's been an interesting period as well to see how well Lampard does do with money. And so far as a coach, the signings look pretty decent. I can't fault him for the signings that he's made so far. And even the intrigue that he's showing in positions like the goalkeeper position, which is a big one. So yeah, man, from my side, I see the pockets of opportunity that Chelsea do have. They've made some great signings. They've got a coach who looks like he's ready for the task, but I still don't feel like they've managed to get the formula right, as you guys think are considering. Like, there is a lot to get right before you can compete for the #1 spot in the English Premier League, and I think the first couple of weeks will show if Lampard has got it right or not with his team. I think Ziyech got injured. So he's got a few injuries already.
Yeah, he's not ready for the weekend. He's not.
Yeah.
Him and Chilwell. Yeah, they both.
Yeah.
And Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another great signing, by the way.
I think look, it's good to have that type of experience in the Chelsea locker room. The player who's competed at the biggest stages, World Cup, European Champions League, and the league in France. But as I'm worried about his ability to perform at the highest level week in, week out, and sometimes twice a week with Champions League football. So it is a good signing, but luckily it doesn't seem like a long-term solution. It seems like it's there to bolster the squad for the next season and maybe extend it for a season or so, another season afterwards.
I just want to read a comment here. Just jump in quickly. Neodate Mills, we all know him. He said, Mosa, what are you doing with your pen, bro? You're not writing a stats exam there. I think when Sello was 4-2-3-1 and the 3-2-9-2, what? I think Mosa was mistaking notes.
Oh man.
Signings I want to talk about. Obviously, Chelsea had to take a large chunk of this conversation. We can, after this particular topic, we can move to Newcastle. But I want to talk about Everton. Everton bringing in James Rodriguez, bringing in Allen, bringing in Decore, which I think is an absolute steal for what they're doing. And having Ancelotti as a manager. How do we feel about all of this? Or how do you think it's going to play out throughout the season? And obviously the players themselves.
I would have loved Decore. I think
But Nick, you don't like relegated players, though. I don't know what's wrong with you.
A downgrade from Watford to Newcastle is a downgrade.
Come on, man.
I'm saying in terms of style of football, Watford to Newcastle is a downgrade.
My man, we survived. That's all I'm saying. So Decore, for me, every time I watched Watford play, and every time there was a goal involving them, he was a key part. Not necessarily assisted, but potentially winning possession back and driving the ball forward and getting the team going. But I think he's a great signing. But in terms of your comment about Everton, I think I spoke to you the other day, Claude. I don't know. You know, they've done this before where they've spent millions of players and then they just don't deliver. But you said something true. They haven't had a manager like Ancelotti, and Ancelotti's won the league. I mean, I stand to be corrected. He's won the Champions League, I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, they've got someone who's tried and tested, spending a bit of money, with adding to a squad that was half decent if you actually look at it. Like, they probably underperformed last season. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see them challenging for a top 6, probably taking an Arsenal spot or a Man United spot.
Yeah, man.
You know what?
I like their signings, but you know, you bring in all these midfield signings, right? But then I think you need to sell some in the midfield. You know, the guys that they were already using, it's too bloated in the midfield now because you brought in a starting 3. You know, so you need to what?
We need to get them some amino acids there. Help them with the bloating in the midfield.
Yeah, exactly, man. So you need to take out take out Schneiderlin. Where, you know, what's going to happen with Sigurdsson, Davies. You know what I mean? Cool. Yes, you need the depth as well, but I think also up front, is Calvert-Lewin gonna get you 20 goals? You know, I think he can get you maybe about 12. He can get you 12 goals. Richarlison is better used on the wing, so he'll get you, let's say, assistant goals. He'll get you like 18 probably, but they need like they should have also focused on a proper striker. You know what I mean? You know,
Like Callum Wilson.
No.
Yeah.
I
Come
think
on,
he's
back
decent. I think he's
guys,
decent.
I'm
I think
going to
Callum
say something. Outrageous
I think
statement.
he's
Newcastle are going to finish above Everton this season. Outrageous.
Which statement? Which team?
Outrageous. James Rodriguez is not going to stay fit this season. And they're going to struggle to
100%.
score goals. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the
And
man does
it
struggle.
won't get you much.
No comment.
We've got Callum Wilson and Andy Carroll, Big Andy. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Look, I just going back to these three players. What I will say about this this Everton side with Carlo Ancelotti is that with Ancelotti, they're going to be tight at the back. The concern, like Sello said, like Mosa, like the problem is going to be scoring the goals. But they're not going to need to score 3 goals a match. They don't have to be entertaining the season. What they need to do is they need to establish confidence. They need to get some victories under their belt. And what he's done is he's signed generals for him. He's signed players that have played with him in the past, players he trusts. So he's going to bring these players in. They're going to help with the team dressing room, help with the morale, and then he can build around that. That's pretty much what he's working with. As for the Decore steal, by the way, when watching him Watford, I always thought he was their key player, largely because he did all the grunt work. And then he still had moments of flair. And I was always wondering, like, if he had to go to a club like Liverpool or Chelsea or a bigger club, not a Newcastle, but if he had to go to a bigger club, I wonder how much more we would see of him. So going to Everton under the manager of Ancelotti's caliber, I think the question is, what's going to happen to your players like Andrea Gomes, who also had a horrific injury last season? But like you said, bloated midfield, it's big issues there. But Wonga, I want you to talk to us about Arsenal's transfer dealings, which I think they've done all right for now. They obviously still need to bring more players in, but how are you feeling about their situation at the moment?
Look, for me, I won't even lie. I've taken as a fan, I've taken the thing of, look, I'm going to sit back and let Arteta do his thing. Honestly, I believe that Mikel Arteta. I think with when I went, let's look back when the previous year with Unai Emery when he signed Pepe, and I watched Pepe. I mean, yes, he looked hot when he was playing. Was it Mainz? The team he was playing before, I can't remember now. But was it Rennes? I think he was playing. I can't remember. In France, he was playing, and yes, he looked hot. He came to Arsenal. I don't know if he's not in the right position. Maybe it's the league, but he's not. I mean, yeah, there were games where he could have put in a free kick, cut in, but that's it. It's like it's on or off. It's not. There's no consistency in that. And even before we signed Liechtenstein, and we had this whole thing of us being. I mean, it was Liechtenstein was playing at Juventus champions, and he was playing well as well. I remember. Came back, everyone saw, hey, just like Thiago Silva, he's going to bring experience, he's nice. He came there and he was garbage. It looked like he couldn't play. He's not played before. I mean, I watched, he was in, at times, the goals that we conceded were literally him being in the wrong position, not even by centimeters, but completely out of tune with everyone else. And then there was Mustafi as well, same thing, German, coming in, rising up.
But Wonga, what about the players that they have signed? What about the players that they have signed? They brought in young Brazilian talent.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'll get there. So now, even back,
you gotta let him get there.
Claudio, just story.
Listen, I know. Listen. Yeah, I want you guys to understand why I stay like this. And then there was WB. Everyone understands what I mean. WB from Chelsea. So now, when I look at the new signings, I'm just taking the position and saying, look, I'm going to wait until I see them actually play in the Arsenal team. That's for me the stance I've taken now, because it's I don't know, but as an Arsenal fan, I feel like I can only now celebrate this thing. I mean, gloat about my players. I mean, after I see him in a couple of games of what we call it, he's going to do with the team.
I personally think that I think you guys have made good signings, man. You know, I think. What I've read about these players, I obviously haven't watched. I don't watch the French league, so I can't say about Gabriel Magalhaes. I don't know how he is, but the videos and the hype looks decent. And then William Saliba as well. There's some good hype around him. You know, they're saying he's the next Varane. You know, there's some good hype. So I guess the hype is there. But what's happened with Ozil, man?
You see, like the hype is there, and I'll get
Free
to
the
it now.
lad.
But the hype, see, the hype I don't want to touch. Honestly, I'm telling you, like, yes, they're good players, and you watch the videos, you see that now and then. But I'm going to be honest with you, especially where Arsenal was before. I mean, I would like to see that again, with, you know, us winning titles again. And I believe it's going to be a process. So I'm going to take the position that, okay, you signed the player. Let's see how they perform in the team. I mean, same thing with Klopp. I mean, he signed his players. Salah was just, they said he was Chelsea waste. Got banged in 30 goals the next season came in. So that's the position. I mean, when Kevin De Bruyne was signed, everyone said he was a hell of a mistake. They said it was. They said, how the heck can you spend? And I think it was if I'm not, between 40 and 50 million.
Yeah,
pounds.
50.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but they were saying it's way too much for De Bruyne. And not any person will kill for that guy. Yeah. So that's why I said, look, for me, the transfers, okay, sign the player, let's give him a shot, let's see how he is, and then I'll make a comment from there. I would like to see how he plays in the team. Because I don't want to now. I've lost a lot of hope.
That's a weird thing with Arsenal. It feels like the best approach you guys can follow is just to give the whoever comes in as an incumbent and the next players just a little bit of hope, because it feels like Arsenal have lost track of being like a top 5, top 6 type of team. They've just been kind of just. It's a team that looks like it's been going through emotions a little bit too much for professional athletes.
And and I think now, even with that, like the Ozil situation as well. Sure. I like the guy as a player, but then he plays and then he's off, you know. And then
I would play him.
He's working hard, ready to play. Huh?
I would play him, bro. I would play him. I would play him off the bench. I would literally, first 5 games of the season, literally Ozil comes on in the 65th minute, 70th minute, first 5 games. Let's see what you got, and just give him a shot. You're paying him £350,000. Might as well just play the guy. You know, second half, because I think also the formation doesn't really allow him, because it's 3-4-3, so it's two center mids, and then obviously the wide play. So there's no Ozil can't play as a 2, you know. So I guess then it's we change of formation or something, you know. So it's also kind of.
You see, you can complain about the formations and stuff, but now Ozil says himself that he's working to be part of the team. You know, that's what he's saying. He's working to be part of the team. And here's the manager. He said, okay, fine. This is what you should be doing, you know. But I don't know. There's a lot of political issues with him as well. And I don't know what the situation is, but there's a lot of stuff that's happening off the pitch.
And I think that is Arsenal's biggest issue. It's the antics and the things with Stan Kroenkamp and everything that's going on off the pitch. I mean, Ozil's situation, one of the reasons that he wasn't been playing or wasn't selected was towards the end of the season when the pandemic hit. The club had actually asked. Firstly, one thing we're not talking about is Aubameyang signing a new contract. Apparently, he's on the verge, so that's going to be huge for you guys. But what they asked the Arsenal players to do is they actually asked the Arsenal players to take a pay cut, which they duly did. Now, when they confronted and they asked Mesut Ozil, and they said, listen, will you do it? His question to them was, what are you doing with the money? They said, no. And they couldn't give him an answer. So he said, the fact that you can't give me an answer, I'm not going to do it. And what is funny is the players took a pay cut and then they still ended up firing staff anyway. Yeah. So there's a lot of fishy things going on there that need to be sorted out. I think Arteta's success will be dependent on the support he gets. Do I think he's the right man for the job? 100%. He's the fabric of Arsenal. He's shown that as a manager, he's not just there to instill his philosophy. He's there to get results first, use what he has, and then build up on that, which I think that's what you look for in a manager, in my opinion. But so, yeah, that's where I think Arsenal are at. But we need to jump to Newcastle right now because Nick, I see he's a Newcastle fan, but he's also got ADD and we've lost him a little bit. So let's talk about Callum Wilson. Let's talk about Callum Wilson. Let's talk about Jamal Lewis, and Ryan Fraser.
I'll tell you what, guys. You know, we celebrated, I think it was last year, January. We broke our transfer window, our transfer record that stood for 12 transfer windows. Our record signing was Michael Owen for £17 million. We broke that with a whopping 20 million with Miguel Almiron, who's been all right from the MLS. tell you what, that's quite a thing.
Top killers.
Yeah, so
Goal, dude. Like the way every player signs for Newcastle, they watch the movie Goal, and that was classic case. Miguel Algaro, whatever, Almiron is a goal.
He's a good player, man.
Yeah, he's not bad. Listen, I'm not complaining. He came into himself. I think he was desperate for the goal, but he was decent at the time. But I think my team goes through stages. Ashley will decide to spend when he wants to, and then if he doesn't want to, we'll just suffer and we'll sell. I think we've had, in terms of like a net sort of spend, I think we spend the lowest over the last 10 years in the Premier League. In terms of the players we've sold, I mean, Gini Wijnaldum came from Newcastle. I mean, Andy Carroll is a typical example. I mean, we've released a lot of players, that have gone on to do bigger and better things. And fair play to them, But I'm a firm believer that we need players who want to play for the club, players that want to sort of kick on. And I think we've got 3 signings. I think Callum Wilson's a proven goal scorer. He scored 14 2 seasons ago, and he scored 8 last season. I think he had 1 or 2 injuries, so hopefully he can do something with the right service. I think a player like John Joe Shelby in the midfield, I think he's very underrated. He doesn't have the legs, but when he gets the ball out of his feet and he's got time and space, he can pick any pass he wants. And there's not many English midfielders who can do that, to be fair.
When he's not sending hate mail to Alex Ferguson, he's doing that.
That's true. And then I think what was quite nice about the Wilson deal is we got Ryan Fraser, who him and Wilson had a good combination at Bournemouth. I think behind 3 players, and I know the top 2 is Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I think there's one more player. I can't actually recall. He's got the most assists over the last 2 seasons. I think he's 4th on the list, above. I think De Bruyne was actually 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. So in hindsight, that's not a bad signing, I would think. And like I said, it's all I take everything with a pinch of salt when it comes to my team. And then we signed this young left back. What's his name? Jamal Lewis. Yeah, he was interested. Klopp was interested, I think, as that understudy, but they signed the Greek boy to cover their left back position. So I mean, we've signed them on 5 years and 4-year deals, which isn't bad. And then the other boy we got was Jeff Hendrick from Burnley, who was a stalwart for them for the last 3 years. I think he'll just add a bit of steel in the midfield. I don't have much hope, but our team over the last couple of years, we beat Chelsea last year. And we end up going to lose. We'll go lose to Burnley. I mean, we beat Man United, and then we'll go lose to.
On that note, Nick, sorry. On that note, Burnley. We've heard about crazy transfer talk, but one of the clubs that make the worst decisions when it comes to any transfer is West Ham, and currently they're being linked with a £30 million move for Tarkowski from Burnley. So that's crazy, £30 million for that player. But what's even crazier is that during the pandemic, Burnley are asking for £50 million for that guy.
Yeah, no, it's unreal. I mean, listen, what they've done is incredible. And I think, Jeff Hendrick was one of the players who decided to leave. A lot of their players weren't playing for them at the end of the season. I think Sean Dyche was quite upset about it. Some guys didn't want to sign the short-term term deals. And for them to finish, where did they finish? I think 8th or 9th. I mean, that was unbelievable for a Burnley side that is probably bang average, but they just get the job done week in, week out. But just to close off my team, you never know. It's a lottery. It's a flip of a coin. Callum Wilson, he's going to score the winner on the weekend. I'll tell you that much.
Come on. All right, guys, and before we move on to the season predictions, I just want to ask Sello one thing, and it's just got to be a yes or no. Jordan Sancho, is it going to happen?
Yes.
Okay, there you have it, folks. That's what the United belief is still there. They believe in David Gill and the rest of the gang. I don't, but he does. That's important. Okay, season predictions. We're going to start with relegation candidates. Who do you guys think the top 3 or the bottom 3, rather, the bottom 3 clubs that are going down?
Be careful, boys. Be careful. Eh?
I'll start. Fulham, Villa
Yeah.
and Brighton.
Oof.
Wait, so Villa, Fulham, and Brighton.
Yeah.
Why Brighton though? Brighton's an interesting one.
No, Brighton, you know why? I was thinking about it earlier and I couldn't really think about my third team. I was quite sure about the two because and Villa went to sign Ollie Watkins for £33 million. That's crazy. That's crazy money. But let's see what he can do in the Premier League. He scored 26 goals in the Championship, but I'm not sure £33 million quite a lot when Newcastle got Wilson for 20. You know what I mean? So proven Premier League player who can give you 10 plus guaranteed, whereas Ollie Watkins has to still adjust. And Villa, man, I'm not sure about them, man. Fulham, they sneaked into the Premier League at the expense of Brentford. They're signing players similar to what they did previously. I'm not sure what they're doing actually. But yeah, Brighton. I just have a feeling, man. I don't know why, man. I just have a feeling that Brighton will be there, man, in relegation.
All right.
I think. I don't know. I just. It's maybe because Brighton's also not on in the news about signings and so forth. You know what I mean? So you don't see any incomings, and I'm thinking to myself that I think their time in the Premier League might be coming to an end. But yeah, we'll see.
All right. Nicholas, what's going on?
Man, I think West Brom are goners. I don't see them staying. I think personally, I do think Burnley and Sheffield United are going to have poor seasons. Those teams that have that first year, you know, it's like I'm not talking Burnley now. They have that first year bounce. I don't see Sheffield United after post-COVID, post-lockdown. They were awful. They were actually bad. Yeah, they did. But I mean, Newcastle even hammered them. Newcastle absolutely hammered them. We don't hammer anybody. So then you really shit if you're getting hammered by us. So I think there's going to be a surprise there. I think one or two of them might be in the fold. And I'd love Villa to go down because they sent us down a couple of years ago. They can suffer. So, yeah, that's more of an emotional plea for them to get out of the league. Them and John Terry.
Cool, Moose. The big Moose.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put it to Villa to be down there as well. I don't think they have enough in their tank to keep getting performances and keep getting points to pull it away from the bottom. So I think they'll definitely be there, along with Sheffield United. That is a real thing where clubs do well as soon as they get in, but then they suffer to actually continue the streak. I think with more money, more competition, it does get a little bit difficult for the players to adapt, and I think they're probably going to be struggling to make it through. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, look, I'm not too sure. I can't lie to you, but yeah, I agree. Villa, I think Villa will be there. The other ones, yeah, I like the underdogs. Sheffield played very well in the beginning of the season, but then, like Nick said, when they came out, I mean, looking at it now, if they continue, obviously, what happened after the lockdown, I think definitely they'll see it. But then again, you may never know. Maybe, I mean, they've got that time now to recuperate, but it's not a lot of time anyway. Yeah, it's like a month, and they have to go back out there. So it is a possibility as well.
I look at. Sorry, go for it.
Yeah. No, well, the third one, as I said, like I don't know. I mean, if I looked at, I'm trying to, but yeah, it did happen. The COVID did happen, but before then, if you look at all the teams, they were pretty much people who were they were competing. It wasn't an easy league last year, and Liverpool were just on a different step than everyone else.
Yeah.
I can't put it to go down, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just add Newcastle to the list for fun.
I'll tell you guys something. Leeds United, and everyone is going crazy because of Marcelo Bielsa. But if he does not change his ways, and mark my words, it's recording. If he doesn't change his ways and adapt, he is going to get murdered. if Liverpool press the way they can press this weekend and he sticks to his ways, playing out the back like a suicidal bomb, I reckon they might get opened up and get something quite big on the first day. Just in my opinion, I do think they've got a great chance to do well, and they might have that first year bounce. But he needs to also humble himself and realize this isn't the Championship anymore. This is the Premier League.
And exactly to that point. I mean, look what happened to Norwich last season. They tried doing that, playing the same way. They got punished. And starting against Liverpool. Look, Liverpool aren't firing on all cylinders at the moment, so we don't know what's going to happen there. But with regards to a Leeds drop down, I think it's very, very important that the manager learns how to adapt, similar to what an Arteta is kind of doing at the moment. But from an Aston Villa perspective, do I think they are going down with agreeing with all of you guys? Yeah, the answer is yes. Largely because they've just spent, I think, £25 million on the Brentford, one of the Brentford players, strikers. So I mean, when you try and shop for us, 23. Sorry, 23 million pounds.
No, 33.
33 million pounds. So I think like when you're spending that kind of money, when you are desperate to land a relegated player, as Nick puts it, like a Callum Wilson, and you can't land him, and the player chooses another club because of a movie, I think you're in big shit. So Villa's got to be down there. Who knew that movie still came into play all these years later? Yeah, Mr. Muñoz. Anyway, second club, I have to say Fulham. I mean, I like Fulham. They're my baby club. I've watched a couple of games at Craven Cottage. Love the place. But it's a very nice club. But that's what it is. Very nice. And you've got the fullbacks that are atrocious. I don't know how the Odi, I don't know how you pronounce his name. He's playing right back for the club. I don't know. He's still there. That guy looks like an Umvela player at best. Their centre back, who is the American international, also the guy's got a first touch of a brick wall. Have you seen that thing? It like bounces off everywhere. It's ridiculous. So do I like Scott Parker? Hell yes. Do I think I should give him? Yeah. So I hope they don't go down. But that's kind of, I mean, they do have Mitrovic, don't they, up front? So they've got goals.
He might do all right.
Yeah. And then the third club, I'm just going to say this because I think it's about time. I think West Ham, they need to get relegated. I'm sick and tired of this shit, to be honest. Their owners have played in the mud for a while. They spend a lot of money on super average players. They made the decision to move to the Olympic Stadium, which was meant to bring them more money. But when you're moving from a stadium that they were at, where it was pretty much on the pitch and the crowd had such a huge influence, to move to a stadium that capacity-wise increases in numbers, but is further away from the pitch and doesn't have the same impact. I feel like all these strategic decisions are shambles. And I mean, the one of the owners, this is irrelevant, but one of the owners making their son, the chairman, I think the son at the time was 17, chairman of the ladies team. I mean, that just shows you from strategic positions. Yeah. So I think it's time those guys get relegated just to catch a bit of a wake-up call, to be honest. And then Newcastle can buy all their players.
That's what we say.
So let's
17th. I'm happy with that. I'll take it.
High hopes.
All right. So we've spoken about the bottom feeders. Let's talk about the teams, the top teams. How do we think it's going to pan out up there? What do you think is going to happen? Who wants to take the reins here?
I'll jump in. I think I might upset a few people here. I think the top four will be the same. I don't know positions wise. I'll get to that, but I think Spurs. I think Mourinho in his second season. I think he's going to take that fourth spot. I think Man United will fall short. And my reasoning is he always in his second season he always clicks, and I do think he's past his best. But I don't think he would have gone to Spurs if he wasn't going to try and do something. So I think they'll be the top four. I personally think City will win the league this season. Liverpool second, Chelsea third, and Spurs fourth.
Who invited Nick to this conversation?
Come on, guys. Come on. That's right now. I might change my view in the next month. So yeah.
So you've mentioned your top four. What about the other two positions? Top six. Remember, Europa's a thing. United have been there for
Yeah.
the last couple of seasons. I mean, that's what they
Man
push for
United
now.
will be in the mix. Man United will definitely be in the mix. I think Arsenal will definitely be in the mix. I think that notorious top 6 will be there. I think Wolves, that sort of they're not going to have Europe this year. I mean, Leicester might struggle this season because they've got Europa League, so they've got a lot more football than they had this season. So I think your notorious top 6 will be there. I think Spurs will pip the other 2 to the top 4. It will be close, but I just think I'm a Mourinho fan. I think he's got something in the locker.
I think it's valuable that trend that he does generally get to change the team and effect his Mourinho philosophy much better over after his first season is something that he could pull through again this season with Tottenham. I just don't know. Yeah, I mean, they've got the talent, they've got the players. They just need the consistency, to be honest, at Tottenham, and I think he'll get it right.
I don't see it happening. Whatever you guys are talking about, I don't see it.
It's your spot on the line.
I really don't see. I don't see Spurs getting to top 4. That I don't see. I feel that I'll categorically say it here. Arsenal will finish ahead of Spurs.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's a good call.
Hey, Wonga's coming alive.
I'm just thinking when I analyze the post lockdown and then also the signings, right? So Arsenal made good signings. Willian added some experience. Aubameyang is like a new signing by giving him a contract, and the defense you're shoring up the defense a bit. Yes, they may be a bit young, but at least it's some good reinforcements. Tottenham have brought in, okay, cool, a good right back, Doherty, but that's all they brought in, right? You know what I mean? So always what happens at Tottenham, right, is Harry Kane. If Harry Kane gets injured, what happens to Tottenham? That's always the question, right? Because their 2 attacking players is Son and Kane, right? So if those 2, either one of them gets injured, it kind of lacks. The team always goes down, you know what I mean? And I feel that Mourinho, Tottenham isn't the right fit for him because Mourinho needs some money. That's where Mourinho does well, is that his second season he always does well because there is some bit of money to buy, So I think if maybe Tottenham bought a second striker, someone who's 80% of what Harry Kane is, then I think they can definitely push. But their centre-back partnership, Eric Dyer being now a centre-back, I don't believe in that. He's a weak link. Cool. Toby Alderweireld is a good player, but I don't see them finishing ahead of Man United and ahead of Arsenal. I have Arsenal at number 5, and I have Man United right now with the signings that everyone has right now.
Go for it.
Just please record it. With the signings that everyone has now, I see Man United finishing 4th.
Okay.
We don't have any signings. We're finishing 4th. But if we get Sancho, then I can talk about number 3. You know what I mean? Then I can talk about number 3 because at least with Sancho, he's an English boy. It'll be easier for him to acclimatize back into an English league as opposed to all the German signings that Chelsea has made. And I just think that Chelsea, I just want to see what Frank Lampard can do. You know what I mean? As a coach, I think sometimes he got a bit. I don't know, man. Like became a bit of a sore loser. Swearing at Liverpool's bench. That wasn't a good taste. But I think also they just need to sort out their defense as Chelsea. Leaking 50 goals plus isn't a title winning side at all. You need to be less than 30 minimum, less than 30. Or score 100 or score 90, goal difference of 50 to 60. Then I think then you can talk about something. But I have Liverpool number 1 right now. If Man City sign a world-class defender, I have Man City at number 1.
My smile was huge, and then he said that. Okay, move on. What I want to say is, we got a guy. We've got Sapang here. He's actually phoned me because I think he really wants me to read one of his predictions. I think he's been waiting an hour and 24 minutes for this. So he says City's going to come first, followed by Liverpool. He says Spurs is going to come third, and then Man United are just going to make the Champions League. And he says Chelsea need more time. You can see why Tsipang wasn't invited to this conversation. Okay, next person.
I think it's fair to echo what Tsipang had mentioned, because as you saw over the end of lockdown and how Liverpool, the style in which they won the actual Premier League was quite convincing, right? They won with 8 games to go, and it was all built off of the first few games, which they got like a stellar run. And it's important to get those type of runs to win the Premier League. You have to get a 16, 17 game run under your belt and get that going. So it might be tricky for Lampard to get everything working from the first day, which is essentially what he's trying to do, to get all these new players in to click immediately and start giving you the results. You're going to have to get some teething in there. Whereas with Liverpool and Man City, these are teams that have developed their philosophy, they've developed their style of play. The players understand and click with each other. There aren't too many disruptions to the actual squad, so they can come out first day of the season with all cylinders firing, which is commendable, So I think first position could go to Liverpool again. I think the track record that they've done over the past 2 seasons supports it. Man City, their rotation policy works in intervals, but sometimes it does cost them. We saw the Champions League where we all know Man City's got a great squad, but sometimes they want to show you that with the players that they put on the field, and that does come to their detriment through that rotation policy. So I think they'll probably come second at the back of that. I think Chelsea will figure it out during the middle of the season, towards or after the first few weeks of the seasons, when guys start showing their quality and start showing their hunger to actually play both Champions League and the league, and then it will be close between Tottenham and Manchester United, but I have to give it to Tottenham because I do think they've got the coach which has pedigree, and they've got players which it's tough for players like Eriksen, like Song, like Kane not to be playing top flight Champions League football. I think if you look at the front six at Man United versus the front six at Tottenham over the past 2 seasons, I'd be leaning a little bit more to the Tottenham front six opposed to the Man United, and that's my thinking for going that way. Unlucky.
This is so funny, man. Like literally, I don't know what you're talking about, because you're basically saying that. Let me try to think who's okay. You're saying Lucas Moura on the right. You're saying Son on the left.
Son.
Eriksen's gone.
Kane. Oh, sure. Yeah, not Eriksen. Kane, Dele Alli. I'm looking at players like.
Let's also. I don't see it, because I see literally Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Anthony Martial, Mason Greenwood, Mark Rashford, Donny van de Beek coming off the bench in big matches, and Matic starting. I literally see Man United just have 15, 20 goals in them more than Spurs. 20. Yeah. It was 20 goals more than Spurs. I think at depth of attackers at Spurs, man. And I think their centre back, Eric Dyer, I don't rate. If they were to get like a centre back to play with Alderweireld, and then Dyer can come off the bench, then I think then it's cool, man. Harry, I rate. Sissoko is an engine. I rate him as well. I don't know, man. And I don't know if you guys seen the snippets of the video, man, of that Spurs Amazon thing, man. Man, he's too strong for them, but he's too, they just need Poch, Poch is stern, but not too much, Mourinho comes in, Dele Alli, he comes in and says, have any of you won the FA Cup? And it's like, I have, so I don't know, man. I think the change in coaching style, it might affect certain players. I don't think all the players will play to the level that they played under Pochettino. Yes, Kane, Son, those are spectacular players. You know what I mean? Lloris is a good shot stopper, cool. But I just see maybe like an Ali going, not being the Ali that we know can be, and what else? The options are not as exciting as the other teams. I think, you know what I mean? Mosa, don't worry, man. I think I'm going to be on your tail, bro. So it's okay. I'm going to be on your tail.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think those are some valid points. I'm not going to disagree with you. And in fact, I think you may have swayed my decision in terms of how I'm going to play this. I mean, I have to. You all know who my number one is. Well, I'm not even going to say it.
Man City.
No, so okay. So I'm gonna stick with Liverpool. I think it's gonna be a super tight one. They're gonna drop a lot more points than they did last season. The legs are gonna be tight. I think one thing we need to consider throughout this whole season is that a lot of it's gonna be played without the fans. So when we're looking at Leeds that are very dependent on fans, that's not going to play a role in this sort of situation, at least for half the season. So yeah, Liverpool, I think they're just going to edge it. I think obviously followed by City. Do I think they're going to be do I think both these clubs are going to be pushing as much as they did? So normally, I mean, last season it was them two, then followed by the rest. I think there might be a bit of a surprise. And I think third place is going to be United. Largely because I think if Mason Greenwood gets some Norwegian girls and Ollie makes a few phone calls, the kid's going to blossom this season. So I think they and to Sello's point, I think they've got far too much firepower, far too much. I think Bruno Fernandes has been a revelation for them. Pogba, it's taken him out of the spotlight because let's be honest, he's a show pony. That's all he ever was, or that's all he is in my opinion. So to let him focus on less show pony-esque stuff and let the other players do the work, I think it works well, bodes well for Pogba. I think followed fourth place. This is going to be a tricky one. I think fourth place has to be an Arsenal. And the reason I say an Arsenal, I love these faces.
End of this conversation.
Let me tell you why. Let me explain it. Let me explain.
Sure.
What we've seen towards the end of the season is that Arteta's got the boys defending. Arsenal are going to change things up a little bit. They're not going to be the picturesque sort of side. They're not going to be that at all. They're going to be doing the hard yards. And so I think keeping clean sheets is going to be very integral to them. They got a Aubameyang who can get goals. And they got William Nelson. They got experience. So I think getting 1-0 across the line is going to be huge for them. It's going to get them 3 points. And we've seen them play against the bigger clubs, perform against the bigger clubs. So I think that's going to be a big thing. So I think they're going to edge in that fourth spot. And then leaves 5th and 6th. Now, 5th and 6th is a difficult one for me because I have to support my Portuguese fellow Mourinho, but to the point that he's probably too hard for I mean, they're soft. Let's be honest. Spurs is a soft club. They're a bunch of pansies. Let's be honest. And I think that like today's modern footballer can't handle. We've seen it happen at United. They can't handle a man's caliber, the hard man. So I think we're actually going to have a bit of an upset where I reckon that Chelsea will come in 5th. I think Lampard's going to experience more pressure than he did last season. And I think Wolves are going to take that 6th spot, largely because that's the Portuguese national second B team. So, yeah.
So it's fine. We don't have to regard your considerations.
Yeah, what do you want to say, Wonga?
Wonga's top 6.
No, my top 6. Okay, number 1. It's gonna shock everyone, but I think honestly, and I think he will compete for it, is Chelsea. I honestly, when Lampard got the job from me, when I watched him, it looked. I was also worried about him, but I mean, he put a guy like Mount. I mean, not even. It wasn't even like a difficult scene for him. Put him in and he put him straight in that starting lineup. And he believed in the guy. And it's sort of a similar situation that he had when he started off his career as well. Was it Harry Redknapp? Put his faith in him, and I think he's sort of now also. I mean, now he's got. I mean, these players that he's bringing in are not like a Jason Mount, but They're well established. And with Chelsea, I think the only problem they had was, I think it was the clean sheets. Scoring goals, you knew every time Chelsea were going to play, goals were coming, they were flying. And you saw that 4-4s, 3-3s, 3-2s, 4-3s, that's Chelsea. Those are Chelsea results last season. Similar to what Liverpool had in their season, the season before they won the league.
Yeah.
Their problem was that they were conceding. Next season, all they had to do was make sure they weren't conceding, and they had probably one of the best seasons ever. In second place, I can't pull out Liverpool. I think Liverpool will fit in their second place. I think second and third will be between them and Man City, really. Leicester City, I even thought I wrote them out last season when it first started. But yeah, Brendan Rodgers, you can't. I mean, the guy he does a good job. And I think if Brendan Rodgers is still with them this season, you can't write them out the top four. I don't think you can. I definitely don't think you can. So for me, I don't want to say it. But
get it on.
I think they will. I think they will finish. In fact, I want them to finish fifth, and I want Arsenal to finish fourth spot. And I think Arsenal can do it, finishing fourth spot. I believe in my team colors.
I believe in you, Wonga. I believe in your men.
Yeah, if they finish fifth, I think that's fine. Tottenham, I think. Like I said, I don't think it's the manager's fault at all. I just think, I don't think those players are going to be able to do what that guy wants. And I don't see them in the top four. Not even in the sixth.
Highly soft, man.
Let's speak about this again in a month. Let's see after the first month. We can see how things are.
Wait. Let's speak again after the transfer window ends. Because
yes,
at least,
exactly.
And at least teams would have brought in some more players. I think Newcastle might have signed some more relegation players. We can maybe include.
But also, we're bashing on Spurs here a little bit. I do think if it goes the way we think it's going to go, I think Mourinho is in big trouble then in terms of keeping his job. But there's a rumor that Bale might make his way to Spurs, and Real Madrid will pay half his wages. So if that happens, I think it changes the dynamic, changes a lot there.
But don't forget the problem is with Bale's salary is that it's £600,000. So Tottenham can't afford £300,000.
True, but that's why Madrid are going to pay half apparently. But
then half is 300. I don't see them paying 300 out of 600. Yes, I don't know, man. That billionaire of theirs that lives in the richest people in Britain, that's their owner. He needs to take out his paycheck, man. But obviously, Levy also owns a bit of the club, and he runs the club. And I think he doesn't want to spend that guy's money.
Yeah, it's fair. Last words, gentlemen.
How Man United will do in Champions League as well, given that they'll have Champions League football to worry about this year as well.
We'll get into the last 16. That's what I feel. Last 16, and then last 16, man. It's literally if you get a favorable draw of facing on paper a decent number one or a decent number two. And anything can go in your favor, you know what I mean? But if, for instance, we play a team that's got a bit more experience, a bit more stronger players, the weakness with Solskjaer is his in-game management. That is his biggest weakness as a coach. In-game management to change things quickly. It takes too long to change things. So United has players, has good players, but then the coach. 60th minute, maybe things are not going right, doesn't change things, against Chelsea, in-game management, you know what I mean? And also tactics to start with, you know what I mean? You've been playing with a 4-2-3-1 the whole time, and you change it to a back three, then you put in Gea ahead of Romero, but Romero's been playing all the cup games, you know what I mean? You're just changing the mentality.
But also, let's not forget the fact that they spent £80 million on a second-hand truck that occasionally,
Listen, at the end of the day, people can criticize Maguire all they want, right? But Maguire,
Have you seen that man turn? He's backing up.
The man's a bus.
he's a bus, yes. He's a bus, yes, right? He's a bus, yes, right? He's like on his feet, right? He is not good, but
And
he
he's
is.
top baseman.
I would say he's the best defender in the A in the Premier League. In the A, he's the best defender in the A. In the
His head is enormous.
obviously, yes.
Maybe that's why it's so slow. I think that's why it's so slow, because he's just trying to keep his balance there.
Like, Man United had one of the best defenses in Europe. So Maguire did contribute favorably. It's just cool. He was caught out a number of times, and I think he needs a faster partner in centre back to help him out, because then he gets caught out like on the turn too quickly. You know what I mean? As a defender, that goal against Spurs, you can't let a player get past you like that. You need to tackle the man. Either the ball goes or the man goes, not both. You know what I mean? So
Sello's he's exposing his tactics when he plays indoor. That's what he's doing.
No, man. Indoor, come on, man. We don't do that, man. I'm just saying, yes, in the past,
I do that.
when I was playing a centre back, that's what you do. Mosa, centre back, Claudio, you're a defender as well. It's either the man goes or the ball goes, not both. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was that? I mean, and then if they give you a yellow card, then you have to be careful. But he didn't have a yellow card at that point in time. Just cut the guy, and then now you're busy turning around like
a truck.
This has become a Harry Maguire intervention. Let's Sello, I want you to come back. I promise, I do want you to come back. But let's finish with the final thoughts. Let's wrap it up. Nick, final thoughts, then Mosa, then Wonga, and then we're good.
I'm excited.
And then obviously Sello, sorry. Yeah.
Excited to be back. Premier League's back. That's what we love. Looking forward to doing this weekly with you lads. And hopefully we can, the black and white tsunami survive, eh? That's all we can hope for. You never know. Maybe a top 10 finish, maybe a cup run. You never know, boys. You never know.
Aim high, top 10. Aim high, man.
Yeah, but it's been a pleasure.
Shout out, you could make it to the top 10. Who knows? But yeah, I'm also super excited. I think as a Chelsea fan, this is one of the most refreshing seasons that I've gone into a season expecting. Like, we've had seasons where we weren't sure what's happening in the locker room, if there's going to be a coach getting sent away, if the players are going to take over the locker room and those dynamics. And it feels like Lampard's done well with the squad. He's got the right approach. He's got the right players to work with him. The football is there. I just think we need a little bit more firepower and more gelling to happen within the team, so that we can actually bolster a lot more solid performances for the next season. It's good to see Man United do so well, back in the top 4 again. The run towards the end of last season was exciting. It looked like a Man United that could, actually compete at the highest level for the next season. So I'm excited to see how Man United do as well this season. And yeah, man, Liverpool should be excellent as well this season. I think we've seen what the philosophy of Klopp is trying to achieve at the club, and it seems like he's been doing it for the past 2 seasons. So I think it will continue with a little bit more pressure from the rest of the pack. But yeah, Liverpool will be exciting to watch again.
Yeah, for me, I think everyone said pretty much everything. I think the only thing for me, I just really, really wanted to see Messi come to the Premier League. I was pretty much depressed when I heard these guys didn't read their contract right. So I'm hoping they can sort it out. Come, is it the December? I don't know if they're going to change it now, but the January transfer window, I'm hoping that they can find a loophole or something and bring that guy in, because that would be really interesting to see that guy in the Premier League. Then it's going to be on. That's for me.
Yeah, on my side, man, I'm fairly cautious about the season. You know what I mean? I want to jump the gun. You know what I mean? Yes, we've been playing exciting football, but I just think that we just need to get 2 more signings. As I said, Jadon Sancho, and maybe another defender. Maybe we've been talking about the left back position. Just someone who can compete with Luke Shaw, because without him, You know, a lot of United fans don't appreciate Luke Shaw. You know, they always make jokes about him, say he's always eating burgers and he's everything like that. But
Fish and chips. Fish and chips.
yeah, you know, they always make fun of Luke Shaw.
He loves chowing burgers.
You know, and you know, and the thing with Luke Shaw, yes, they always say he has zero assists and so forth. You know, but Luke Shaw defensively has been so solid for Man United. When he got injured, you know, we had Brandon Williams playing left back. Like we were quite weak on that side. We were quite weak on that side going forward and also defensively. So, you know, Luke Shaw being back and then also maybe just having a decent person to play with him. And I also don't like having a right-footed person playing left back. So, you know, so just maybe a second left back to play with Luke Shaw, you know, either or starting, trusting both of them. You know what I mean? I think then that will help. And obviously Jadon Sancho. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Bruno Fernandes to get a full season. And I think people like to make fun of him and make fun of Man United and say they only score goals via penalties. But you know, we scored 60. We scored 60 plus goals. So and 20 penalties. And also, guys, don't forget a penalty out of football. You know what I mean? You still have to score. You still have to score a penalty. You know, at the end of the day, you know, if you get a penalty, what happens? You know, there's a 50% chance to score. There's a 50% chance that you don't score. Right? You still need to score the penalty. If penalties were easy,
What's going on here? How's this becoming like a debate about how important? Yeah,
These are closing remarks.
No, but listen, guys, listen, right? I can listen. If penalties were easy, Lionel Messi would have a Copa America. If penalties, right? Lionel Messi would have a Copa America. Chelsea would have won the Champions League before 2010. So he would have won the
Sorry, we're gonna let you finish. Continue.
It's fine, champ. We know you need the penalties.
I need to walk away. Sorry.
Hey, Anthony Martial scored goals out of penalty. That's yeah. It will be a good season. But I'm also very excited with Chelsea's signings, man. You know, looking from it's always good to have the best young talent. You know, I mean, I think Timo Werner and Havertz are like, you know, hot property. You know, and then it'll be interesting to see how Pulisic does. He looked amazing when he was fit. Just keep him fit. You know, I mean, it'll be good to. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we don't want each other's teams to do well, but you just want to see good players do well. You know, at the end of the day, you know what I mean. So even if, you know, Timo Werner scores 20 goals, you know, and then you guys still finish below us, I'll be happy, type of thing. You know what I mean? You know, and then like, you know, and if Liverpool get Thiago Alcantara, I'll definitely watch the matches where he starts. Get him, then I'll just give you guys your matches a miss.
Oh. Okay, now that the comedy hour is finished, so thank you very much, Sello.
Is that really?
Sorry. Okay, I want to say I'm going to wrap this up. It's going to be quick. Guys, this is an historic moment for Goallounge. This is an historic moment for the guys. Thank you, who are the first viewers that tune in to watch with us. I think we had up to 11 live views, which is more than I bargained on getting. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your comments. We look forward to interacting and engaging with you guys for the rest of the season. Like I said, this is the Goallounge crew. So if one of them is missing, please create like a little sign saying they're missing or something, because I don't know, we've just started. So if they're going missing, that means my recruitment policy was really bad, and I was probably following United's recruitment. We have taken a lot longer than what I thought, but like I said, this is our first episode. We will get better, and thank you very much for tuning in.
Yeah, please get a Man City supporter, man. Let's shop. Apparently, there used to be Arsenal supporters. Let's get one.
He's like, the Man City supporter is like 12 years old, bro. It's gonna be
Just find one, bro. Just find one, man.
No, I just know that we're gonna recognize a lot more penalty goals from now on. Before they weren't taking us seriously. Now they're gonna be really understood.
Okay, look, guys. Look, one thing that I do know is that I chose the right guys because you don't like finishing the conversation, which is amazing. Okay, so we need to end this. I'll see you guys. Cheers. See you guys next week, same time.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Yes,
Next week,
sure.
we'll
Take